Hello, this is Dustin Burrell with CIS 104 Networking class. We're in Chapter 11 for this video. We're basically doing the hands-on lab, and we're going to start on 11.1, configuring and verifying VLANs, which is pretty simple. And first, before we get started, make sure you have a network set up like this. Eventually, we're going to add a server to here to do DHCP instead of static IP addressing through the router on one of our activities. So, just making sure it's all right. We got F08 up here. 15, 16, 17, 18, like our previous activity, are the interfaces we're using for our multi-layer switch. Make sure you have a layer 3 switch up here, or else we will not be able to route in between the VLANs. 2 normal switches down here, 4 normal PCs, and so on. So first thing we're going to do in this lab, you will have to configure VLANs from global configuration mode and then verify the VLANs itself. Configure 2 VLANs on each switch, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Now on switch 1, we're going to just go in here first. Go to our command line interface. Enable, get into configuration mode. And as we're here, do VLAN 10. And then VLAN 20 also. With those 2 commands, we're basically just naming that these are the switch 1's going to connect to VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. And we want to do that for each switch. So let's go to switch 2. This is my second switch over here. While I'm here, I'm going to switch my names. Switch 2. Save it. Switch the name up here too. S1. 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 Save it. Switch my switch 3 over here. Then make this switch 3. Okay. Now I've got the switches named that I wanted. Okay, I just did VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Now let's go do that on switch 2. VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Go to switch 3, did the exact same thing. VLAN, oops, gotta get into configuration mode first. VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Okay, so now that we configured 2 VLANs on each switch, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, we are done with step 1. Now we're going to want to use the show VLAN and show LAN brief commands to verify that your VLANs have been configured and they will reach each other. Notice that all interfaces are in VLAN 1 by default. So let's go back up to our switch 1 and check it out there. Landline interface, and we're going to do a show VLAN. And what this basically does is shows all the ports that's being used in our network right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. These are all the ports that are available and active. Now you'll notice right here it says active, but it's unsupported. That's going to be one of the main differences between show VLAN and show VLAN brief. 1 is our default, 10 VLAN, 20 VLAN, it's there and active and ready to go. And then do a show VLAN brief. Not too much of a difference between here, but you'll see that they're all active right here instead of unsupported. They are supported through throughout the network. It just doesn't show up when you say show VLAN. When you show VLAN brief, it's more explaining what is active and what's going on through your network. And that's pretty much 11.1. Now we're just going to move into 11.2. And on 11.2, this is a lab where you will configure trunk links and then verify them. Basically, we want to connect each switch and configure trunking on all switches. If you are using a switch that supports both 802.1q and ISL, which if you don't know what ISL stands for, it's inner switch link, frame tagging, then use the encapsulation command. If not, then skip that command. Basically, I'm going to go into switch 1 to start this part, and we're already there. So the commands that we have to do: get into configuration mode, get into config. We're going to do an interface range. Interface range F0/15 through 18, comma F0/8. And don't forget the port 8 is linked to the router right above the switch 1. And we're going to do switch port encapsulation, but we're going to check to make sure that we can do it. To do that, we do switch port trunk encapsulation with a question mark. And it said it's an unrecognized command. Oh, probably because I just spelled it wrong. Switch port trunk encapsulation space question mark. And it does have it. I was worried there for a second. So again, if I were to type that and I received an error, then your switch does not support both encapsulation methods. Considering it did show up switch port trunk encapsulation, such as the interface 802.1q trunking encapsulation, we are good to go, and we will be able to have connectivity throughout the network. So inside switch 1, where we're at, switch port trunk encapsulation .1q would be your next command. And then we're going to want to do switch port mode trunk to trunk these links together. And as you see, when I hit switch port mode trunk, it shows all the interfaces 15 changed to stay up. All of them just went up from 15 to 18. And as you can see, you're not seeing the OA interface. And the main reason why is because as you see this cable right here, it's not connected and configured correctly. So we're not going to see interface F08 show up yet. So interface F016, this is what trunking allows between routing the VLANs. And F16, F17, F18, they have all been configured with the switch port mode trunk and the switch port trunk encapsulation .1q commands. Those commands are going to make it so we will be able to ping throughout the network and not have any connection network errors. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on switch 1 and switch 2 and switch 3. And my switch 2 is right down here. Go into the command line interface. Let's exit out of here. Comp T. And basically we're doing the exact same thing, but we have different interfaces on switch 2. We pretty much want to do interface range F0/1 to 2, comma, and then F0/5 to 6. And pretty much the same thing, but we don't have to worry about the encapsulation .1q command because we got that configured on S1. All we have to do is just switch port mode trunk to change the states to up. So let's just do that. Switch port mode trunk. And you'll see all the states changed up besides 6. You'll see that 6 is still down. That would be fine. It got 5 and 6. And just to let you know, the 8021.q, this is a frame tagging, which is more useful for VLANs than it would be if we weren't using this method. So after we go to switch 2 and we run the switch port mode trunk, all we have to do is the same thing on switch 3. But I'm kind of curious why I didn't see the 01, F01, F01, and 2 not show up there. So I'm going to try this again. Interface range F0/132 switch port mode trunk. Okay. It must have caught it. I was just making sure I didn't. Oh, actually, they're up here. I'm sorry. I saw them right there. See, 2 will be down and 6 will be down. But we're still going to have connection. That's what I was looking for. Then moved to switch 3. Did the exact same thing. End this. Get back into configuration mode. Okay, interface range. Exactly the same how we did the last one. F01 to 2, comma, F05 to 6. Enter. Interface. What did I do wrong? Interface. F. Oh, I see it. F. Need to get my slash in there. /. Okay. And then switch port mode trunk. Now after this command, they should all be trunked together. And in fact, when I did my last configurations, it did change the state on interfaces 1 through 6, 1, 2, 5, and 6, just like it did on switch 3. You'll see 2 is down and 6 is down, but it's still gonna have enough power, enough connection to not ruin the network to where we can ping and have a successful network. So after we configured the trunk links on our switches, which we pretty much did, on each switch we want to verify trunk ports with the show interface trunk command. Let's see here. Okay. So on each of your trunk ports with show interface trunk command, we're going to go to switch 1 now. And we're going to run this command show interface trunk. And what this is going to be showing us and what we really need to look for is verify, like the native VLAN. These ports are all trunking together on the 802.1q encapsulation. Port VLANs allowed on trunk is 1 to 1005. We have 1, 10, and 20 on 15 on all of these. It's just verifying how the network's working and how it's getting from one port to another. We want to verify the switch port configuration with the following. So we're going to pretty much do a show interface. I'm going to pick 6. Interface F0/6 switch port. And that did not do what I wanted. Interface. Let me try something else. those mistypes. Show interface F0/6 switch port. And what this is going to basically show, verify commands and info, explain very briefly what this is all about. Captured VLANs allowed, enabled all of them. Voice VLAN none, native VLAN 1, default 1, trunking is on, encapsulation is native, .1 queue for encapsulation of trunking to administrative. That's basically just for you to know exactly what's going on with all your trunking leaks and to verify that it is running correctly. So now we're going to move on to 11.3, which is configuring router on a stick routing. So we get to finally play with our router up here. And before we even get into the router, we're going to add a server, because I'm really glad I watched a friend's video before I did this, or else I would have been really lost. So we're going to add a server to the network. Come down to your end devices, put a generic server right there. And we have a lot of configuring to do before we get this started. But first we're going to go into the physical part of here and get the right network cards in here, the ones that I want. Post HNM1CGE would be the ones to go. Put 2 of them here so it can go to each VLAN. Turn the server back on. Use both interfaces. This eventually will help us so we connect the DHCP correctly. And then we want to enable DHCP services on the server. We want to make a DHCP enable on. And for gigabyte interface 1, we're going to go with VLAN 10. 10.10.10.1. DNS will be 10.10.10.4. 10, 10, 10. Let's start the range at 25, 255, 255, 255. Class C. Make sure the service is on. And then save it. And then go to your interface gigabyte 0. Turn it on. 20, 20, 20. Dot 4. Oh, wait a sec. No, dot 1. And then 20, 20, 20. Dot 4 for our range at the server address. 20, 20, 20, 25, 255, 255, 255. Make sure it's on. Save it. Okay. After we have configured and enabled DHCP on the server, we're casually going to go to our IP config window, which is right here at our desktop. Go to here. For gigabyte internet 0, remember it's 20, and switch it. Do a static IP address at first. And what we're going to use is 20, 20, 20.4. C-class subnet. Default invalid IP for this subnet. Hold on, just a second. What's going on here? Gigabyte internet interface 0. I thought I did that correctly. Let's see here. Something upset that machine. Let's see here. Now we got to do the IP configuration. Make sure it's static. IP address for interface gigabyte 00 is 20.20.4. 255.255.255.0. There we go. Must have just mistyped something. DNS is going to be 127.0.0.1. I believe so. Let's double check that. Okay. And then also set it up on interface gigabyte 0, 0, 1, which is 10. And then default gateway is 10.10.10.1. Not 1. And same. You are going to get this warning. PT uses first port as a default port to forward trafficking. Ignore this. It's going to be okay. It's not like a warning that you're not going to have good connectivity. It's just saying its preference of how it would do it. But computers only know how to say when they're doing things right or wrong. They have no emotion. So there you go. Those are the configurations you want for Gigabyte interface 1 and 0. Go ahead and get out of there. Get out of the configuration mode. And then we just want to pretty much cable the server to interface G01 and interface G00. Interface G01, and we can always just double check. Interface G00 is going to be VLAN 20. Interface G01 is going to be interface V10. So let's grab a cable. Let's do a straight cable. This is going to be 1 to VLAN 10. We're going to use fast Ethernet 07 right here. Go to gigabyte 0. Go here, use fast Ethernet 7. Fast forward some time. See if we can get some green going here. And we did. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, now that we're done with that, we're going to go to switch 3 and configure the interface range that we just did, because that's pretty important. So switch 3 is right here. And see here. And get out of that. Configuration mode. Do an interface range of F0/3 to 4, comma F0/7. Interface range F03 to 4, F07. Then put a switch port mode access command. With this command, we're giving access to the switch port to be able to basically run through the network. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Switch port mode access. I gotta spell it correctly though. Switch port mode access. And then switch port mode VLAN. Oh wait, switch port access VLAN 10. That will make it so they have connectivity from the server to VLAN 10 on switch 3. And then go to switch 2 and do the exact same thing, which is over here. Enable conf T interface range F0/3 to 4 to cover our PCs. Then F0/7 for the new VLAN connection. Switch port mode access. And then switch port access VLAN 20. Okay. So those are the configurations. We should be able to go to the PCs and set it to DHCP settings now. Do this on PCs 0 to 4. And we should be able to get DHCP. DHCP should show up successful. And it did, but it's not getting our range. So hold on just a sec. Let's go to the server. Because I started my range at 25. Let's go. 25. Save it. Make sure it shows up here before you leave to the next one, so you can get the range that you want. Save it. Okay. Now go back to here. Sorry, PC0. Go to DHCP. Go back to static. Go back to DHCP. We should have the range that we want now. There we go. 25. Bam. Go to PC0. Config. Desktop. IP configuration. DHCP. It should be at 26. There we go. Good to go. And then PC2. Desktop. DHCP. Should be at 20, 20, 25. Yes. Excellent. And last but least, this one. DHCP 26. Yay. Okay. So we're all good on the PCs. Now we can ping a VLAN, but not between routers yet. Like here. This is what I'm saying. Like I can go from PC to PC2. Bam. Successful. PC3 to PC1 is not going to work because we haven't configured in between here yet. So that's the next thing we got to do. We got to configure so we can go from multiple devices such as PC through the router, through the routers. Actually, it just switches PC from switch 2 to switch 3 to PC1. That's going to be our next goal. And basically, our next step is starting hands-on 11.3 now that we've configured everything correctly. And just like you know, this is like router on a stick. In this lab, you'll see the router connected to port F08 right here to switch 1. To configure ROAS, ROAS. Configure the F00 the router with 2 sub interfaces to provide inter-VLAN routing using 802.1 encapsulation, using 172.168.0.24 for your management VLAN right here, and then your VLAN 10 network and VLAN 20 network. So we're going to go into the router now. We're finally going into the router. Let me make sure I go to the router. Yep, okay. Inside this router, just go to command line interface, no, enable, conf t, but ours is interface G. I have a G interface, not an F interface, just to show you what I'm talking about right up here. I did G00. So on interface G0/0, which is not going to work because I need to get in configuration mode, interface G00/0. We're pretty much doing the IP address for the management VLAN up here, so that would be IP address 172. Oops, 172.16.0. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Need to do the correct address here. It's 10.1, 10.1. C class subnet mask. Enter. Now, even though we're setting up the IP address for the interface G00, we also have to do a sub interface. So this time we're going to do interface G0/0.10. That's going to set up our sub interface, and as you see, it goes router config sub if. And on the interface G0.10, we're going to run an encapsulation .1q 10. And that will make it so we'll have the encapsulation command that's going to make us get from switch 1, well, from router 1 to switch 1. And then we also want to do the IP addresses for the V1, V10, and the V20. So since we're already in here, we just continue. I'm going to make sure I don't have to get, oh yeah. Okay. I have to put the IP address on for the .10 interface. Let's not forget that. Okay, and this is the 0.1.0 interface, so it's going to be IP address 10, 10, 10.1, I believe, yeah. Okay. And then we want to get into interface. Oops, didn't mean to go back that far. Interface G0 slash 0.20 for the VLAN 20. Encapsulation dot 1Q20. And then we want to put an IP address for this sub interface. IP address 20.20.20.1. Okay, and after we get this IP addresses set up, we do want to do a no shut. So end interface G0 slash 0. Oh yeah, configuration mode. Interface G0 slash 0. No shut. And after that, you're going to see that interface is 00 is changed up. We have connectivity from the router to switch 1 now. Point 10 is up. Point 20 is up. Success, success, success. Now, after we're doing that, we can actually ping PDU. And we want to ping from PC0 to PC2 to PC0. Now, the first time we do it, it probably won't make it. See, it didn't make it. Let's try it again. Okay, it failed on me twice. Let's see here. That's successful. Should fail the first time. But it made it second time. Okay, it's getting worried there for a second. On a simple PDU, it usually fails the first time, but if you do it a second time, it works. I was doing it a couple of times and it wasn't looking like it was working. Now we can actually go inside here too and ping it this way. This would be from PC2 to PC0. PC0 is 10, 10. Oops, need my dots. And it replies from it, and we are good to go. So pinging is working very well. And now we just need to verify the configuration with like a show run, you know. Now that we're pinging, that's great. Let's just go here, do a show run. You can do show running configuration if you really want to, but a show run. And basically, we want to verify the configuration. Let's see how it looks. Yes, we had the encapsulation .1Q switch port mode truck on FO8. Interface unify. We're good. Interface no IP address. Okay. Now configure trunking on interface F08 of the switch 1 connecting to your router. Actually, I already did that because I just verified that your VLANs are still configured on your switches with the show VLAN command. Let's do that. Show VLAN. Yes, we're still active. We're still connected. And we need to configure the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 with switch port access, which we had already done that. And ping from your PC's router sub interface configured on your VLAN. That is one thing we haven't done. Let's go do that. Let's do, oops. Let's do command prompt. And we will ping 10.10.10.1. This is our interface, and we made it. So that's good. Pinging's good. Okay, so we're ready to move on to lab 11.4. This is the last section of our video. And basically, on lab number 4, sorry, I was just reading something. We're going to disconnect the cable on the router first, because that's the first thing we do. Disconnect the cable. Router doesn't appear anymore. And now we need to, in this lab, you'll disable the router, which we just did. Switch to provide inter-VLAN routing by creating SBIs. So we want to connect to the S1 switch and make interface F08 an access port, which will make router stop providing inter-VLAN routing, which basically means we have no more connectivity. So first off, we want to go into switch 1, and the next command that we're going to enter is IP routing. Get back into configuration mode, and then IP routing. And the first command we want to do to IP routing, create 2 new interfaces on switch 1 to prevent inter-VLAN routing, which is IVR. So we're going to go into interface VLAN 10. Alright. Interface VLAN 10. As you can see, it changes the state to up. Line protocol on interface VLAN 10 is now changed to the state up. But we got to give it an IP address. We're going to use 10, 10, 10.1. And then interface VLAN 20. IP address, as you can see, change the state to up. IP address 20, 20, 20.1. Okay, so we've got the IP addresses on the VLAN 20 and the IP address on the VLAN 10 to make it so we can still have connectivity without a router. And then end this, get into configuration mode again, and type in clear ARP. After you clear ARP, we're basically going to want to see if we can ping. And if we can ping without the router successfully, we are done with this activity. Ping from your PC to router sub interface configured on your VLAN. I'm just going to do it this way. And let's delete this. Okay, we should be able to go here to here to here. No problem, right? But let's see if we can go from PC to S1. Should fail the first time. Let's try it again. And we're successful. Ping from your PC to your PC in the other VLAN. You are now routing through the switch 1. Okay, well, let's try it from here too. Ping, ping, failed. Ping, ping. And we're successful. So that's pretty much all there is to do this activity. Very complex, but I have really learned how easy it is to configure a switch compared to a router at times. I mean, the router you would have to do so many different things. One thing to note, if you do this, make sure this is a layer 3 switch because you will not be able to do all the configuration commands we did on this switch compared to the other 2 switches, which are layer 2 switches. Layer 3, without the layer 3 switch, we would not have connection throughout this. If there's any comments or questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one, I hope.